Hey guys, what's going on? Xbox All In channel. Hope you guys are having a good Friday night. Switching it up a little bit. I might do a couple videos tonight, but I definitely want to do one concerning the Trump tax cuts and basically one of what's Trump's biggest enemy in 2025, which is inflation. So I got a video that I'm going to share with you guys. I'm going to pull it up real quick. This will not be a long video, or not as long as my videos usually tend to be. Um, but I do want to talk about it because I think this is really important. All right, if you guys have been keeping with politics, if you've been following my channel, I've been trying to put a lot of content out there. Sorry, I know I'm struggling getting everything out there. I still haven't done the video on Doge. I still haven't done the video on all of the stuff that's going on um, with all the protesting right now. Never really talked about immigration. And I'm going to try and get to that as best as I can, guys, but I'll be honest with you, it's been a bit hard. Just because it takes so much time to get all the research in and stuff like that. And by the time I do a lot of research on this stuff, there's new stories that keep on coming. You know what I mean? I talked a little bit about it the other day when I did my other video, how President Trump and Benjamin Netanyahu had a meeting at the White House. In fact, Benjamin Netanyahu was the first head of state that President Trump recognized, the first to appear at the White House in his 2025 presidency as he's kicking it off. I mean, guys, it's only been 2 weeks, and President Trump has done so many things that it's hard to keep track of, which is my point. But I did a video talking about that because I thought it was so important. Again, some of the stuff that he comes up with, man, it comes out of left field. And like I said, I wasn't prepared for any of that. I thought, I definitely knew that he was going to treat Bibi Netanyahu with a lot of respect, the respect that he wasn't getting for the last 4 years, repair the relationship with Israel that we haven't had a great one with for the last 4 years. Try and bring a little bit of sanity to the Middle East. But when I knew he was going to do all of these things, and he did, but especially with the Middle East, what I thought he would just kind of toe the line as far as diplomatically. And I know he'd be a firebrand and say some kind of off stuff. But again, I had no idea that he was going to go and recommend turning Gaza into like the Vegas Strip. I just, again, I mean, it just totally blows my mind. Um, and this happened a couple of days ago, naturally. But if you guys are keeping up with politics, and hopefully as you guys watch my channel and watch these videos that I like doing, it kind of brings you into it a little bit. But definitely, look, dude, I'm not trying to indoctrinate anybody. Like I tell you guys all the time, I have my own political leanings. That's not what this is about. I mean, I'll share them on my channel. I have no problem doing that. But it is about everything that's going on right now. Because again, like I said in all the videos I've been doing when it comes to politics, man, most of them I say this all the time is like, you live in a really cool time because you're living history right now. I mean, some of the stuff that he's doing, the current president, and just some of the stuff that's going on in the world right now. You know, the whole thing with the Palestinians and Israel, that's been going on for generations, right? This is something that a lot of people never even thought of doing. Right? And I know it seems for some people ridiculous, kind of off the cuff. Sometimes the president doesn't say things in the most diplomatic of ways, but I mean that's why a lot of people love him. That's why I love him, man. He just shoots straight from the hip. And it caught so many people off guard. And I said this in my last video. But now, as the days have gone on, you see people actually kind of thinking about it. Even his detractors. I mean, of course, people had their reactions, though it did stun so many people. I'd say a good 4 hours before. He has his haters that's just going to come on and hate everything he does. But a lot of people were just taken aback. I know I was. Right? I was excited to do the video, but it took me some time to process that. Where I live, dude, I kind of get this stuff earlier in the day, so that's why I did the video, which I normally don't do on a work night, late at night, for me because I got to go to work the next day. But that's how much I wanted to talk about that video, and I do want to do videos like this more on my channel. I try and put them out, but like I said, it's kind of hard because there's just so many things happening at one time. This guy has not been in office for, I think he finally hit 2 weeks that he's been in office, or a little over 2 weeks. But I mean, it feels. I mean, I'm pretty sure you guys are like me. It feels like it's been a year already because there's so much stuff getting done, whether through executive order, whether through allies stepping up, whether the deals he's making, all of this stuff is happening at one time. Again, at breakneck speed, man. I mean, it's just something that you don't see, especially after the 4 years we just had, dude. I mean, there was the occupier of the office in the last 4 years, man. That dude was out to lunch, right? And then when they finally admitted that that guy wasn't all there, again, he wasn't running the government; it was all his little minions, right? And you can see that now if you guys take the time to look at Doge and looking at it openly at what they're trying to do, they're exposing all the guys, right? All this stuff that's coming up, right? And I'll talk about that. I won't deep dive it here. so I don't want the video to go too long. But all the stuff that they're doing there, they were doing it. Those are the guys who are running the country. All this USAID, all that kind of stuff, dude. It is. I say this all the time, dude. It is incestuous in Washington D.C. Right, so much so that a lot of these people don't think what they're doing is wrong, and some of them have lied to themselves so much that they think what they're doing is right. Right, but at the end of the day, they answer to the American people. Oh, sorry guys, am I still there? I think my testing. Oh, I'm there. Hey, what's up, Daniel? What's up, brother? Yeah, I'm doing the political stuff again. Happy Friday, bro. Thanks for being here. Um, all these guys are getting exposed, right? And I think that's good for the general public. Now you guys are beginning to realize, like some of the stuff I look at. I've known this stuff for a long time. Not the depth to it, not the particular details. I mean, they're exposing a lot of stuff. It's crazy, and things are bad because a lot of these guys that are going to get exposed, a lot of these people that are losing their money, they're going to lose their power, they're going to lose their influence. Um, you're seeing it now. You're seeing it. And that's why they're starting to come out. That's why they're starting to fight and protest. A lot of the stuff they doesn't make sense to most average people, right? Because common sense is like, okay, look, we see that they're spending money on stuff. Why are they doing that? What does that have to do with government service? Like, why are we supporting these programs? That makes no sense. What does that have to do with national security, or what does that have to do with the government in general? Right? And then they get upset, right? And they get mad, right? Because they're getting called on the carpet. Because deep down inside, they know that most Americans, the people that just live everyday lives, that work every day, wouldn't agree to any of this kind of stuff, right? Because at the end of the day, what people would want, if the money for all these programs that they're using, which they are a waste of time and money, then it should go back to the taxpayers. Or in my opinion, if you guys follow me on X, you guys know I want them to get rid of the income tax for various reasons, right? But the main one being is that, or the two main reasons is, number one, we'll get more money back in our pockets, and number two, it'll help fight um, this juggernaut of a government that's just so ridden with fraud and abuse, right? And that's what they're doing right now. But again, shifting back to what this video is about. So President Trump is hitting him on all fronts because he has to. Like one of the most important things I think President Trump said, because somebody said, okay, so you have 2 years. So if you guys keep up with politics, you know that he won the election, but in 2 years they're going to have a midterm. And in the midterm, what tends to happen, because President Trump had had a big victory, and so much so that he won not just the swing states, not just the popular vote and the electoral college, but he won both houses of government. Right? He won the House and the Senate, and that's a big thing. That's how he's able to push this stuff through, even though he gets pushed back by the Republicans. Look, dude, again, very incestuous in there. These dudes are about themselves, a lot of them. This is why he has to fight tooth and nail and then hammer these guys into. That's why you see him insulting Republicans all the time too, because these guys get weak. They start thinking, like a DC elitist, and then they end up ruining everything, right? So he can't. There's no risk for the wicked when it comes to President Trump. Personally, I don't think it's fair, right? And that's what we're going to talk about today. Share this video, and then we'll go over it really quickly. The biggest things that a lot of people want him to work on, he's working on them. But right now, the most biggest thing, and I haven't seen him, like I see him today, he came out and started talking about it, and I know his team has got their eye on the prize. It also helps that everybody's ultra focused on Doge and Elon Musk. They're ultra focused on the nominations in the cabinet, the whole turning Gaza into, like I said, the Las Vegas Strip. That's a shiny little bauble that they can throw to all his detractors to keep them occupied for a minute. You saw with all the immigration stuff, right? There's a lot of stuff going on, dude. And again, within 2 weeks, I know he was ramping up for this before he took office, and in honesty, he was thinking about this. He had 4 years to think about all this kind of stuff. What he learned in the first 4 years of his presidency, the 4 years they were trying to throw him in jail and take him out of the picture, even trying to kill him. Right? He had all of this stuff going on, so he's ready. He hit the ground running. But again, a lot of people was not expecting that, and it's great that he's doing that because for a lot of his detractors, especially those in the media, right? Like with the USA thing, right? We're finding out that the media was getting paid directly by the government, right? Which is a conflict of interest. If I'm being just nice, right? But I mean, I think as more stuff dropped, we can hang the traitor label on these people, man. Look, the media is supposed to be the fourth estate. They're supposed to not have any biases, but obviously they do. Most of these people go to college and they're liberals, right? They think the same way. It's funny to me that we paid them so much money that we did. I think they would have done it for free. So that's another waste. This is why you don't want government running stuff like this, because they waste all your money. But speaking of money, so let's get back to it. I gotta try and find this stuff. guys, because I want to get this video out. I got just a couple minutes. This is a great video. I'm gonna try and cue it up really quickly. Sorry if it's you get some background noise and stuff like that. I'll try and make it as best as possible can. But shout out to Daniel. Sorry, Daniel. I'm hitting the ground running. I wish I could do videos, if I'm being quite honest. Doing this on the videos. But shout out to you, brother. Thanks for being there. And for those of you guys that come across my videos, please comment. Let me know what you guys think. These aren't the videos that most people want to watch, but sorry, but these are the videos that I want to do. So it is what it is, guys. Sorry. See if we can get this. Present. But yeah, so just really quickly as I set this thing up, somebody asked him, you have 2 years, and he shut them down. He said, no, dude, I have 100 days. And I love that was his answer. And what I'm talking about is to implement his plans, right? He has 100 days, and he was very specific about that. And I like that he said that because it shows me where his focus is. He realizes what's going on, guys. None of this stuff is by chance. I mean, what he does is he does like multiple layers to the stuff that he does. So if one avenue doesn't work or one thing falls apart, he just goes through the other one, right? He's very forward thinking, right? He thinks ahead by 4 or 5 steps a lot of times. And then there's sometimes he just hammers things in, hammers it home, and that's what keeps all of his detractors off balance. That's why a lot of these you saw what happened with the tariffs, man. They didn't know what to expect. Like they thought he was going all in on the tariffs, and he might have been going all in. They don't know, right? But then he has a conversation with him. They do what he wants. They do what he wants them to do, and then he pulled back and he go. But he does say, "I'll give you 30 days. I want you to follow through on that." If not, then he'll probably drop it. He'll probably drop to 25 back, or even go 50 or higher. Right? You have to really listen to a lot of the stuff that he says, and when he wants something, he'll go through the process of getting that, whatever it may be. Right? And a lot of these guys are finding out the hard way, man. They tried to play hardball with him. And, some of these leaders weren't there in 2016, the first 4 years. Some of them don't know him that well, right? And then they found out really quick, and they course corrected, right? Which is good for the country. First and foremost, I'm all in on that this time around. I've always been pro-American, guys. I've always been for the country first, but so much so now, right? Especially with everything going on, dude. This is the last hurrah. We gotta turn this stuff around. If we don't turn this stuff around, we're gonna be in deep trouble. So, sorry, guys. This is just being really slow. That's why I'm talking, but pretty sure you guys can see it now, right? There we go. And then I'm gonna run this forward, guys. I won't be able to see. Hold on. There we go. So this is basically what I wanted to talk about in this video, right? It's very important because of all the stuff that he's done. Look, Trump's not gonna get any leeway, dude. He has to deliver, and he is, right? Even if you don't like what he's doing, you gotta respect the fact that he's actually doing it. And so the reason why I'm talking about this, right, is that he's not going to get a pass on anything, right? All it takes is one slip up, and the media is going to be all over it. And again, I'm not worried about it because he knows this, right? But if there's anything that he really has to start turning and focusing on, again, I know he's doing it, right? But it's definitely the economy, right? Everything else is going on right now, but and then you will listen to this video, and then you guys will get an idea of what I'm talking about. All right. Okay, let's roll.
Steve Forbes, Forbes Media Chairman and Editor-in-Chief, and John Carney, Breitbart Finance and Economics Editor and co-author of Breitbart Business Digest. Gentlemen, great to see you in studio. Thanks for being here. Steve, this jobs report is so emblematic of Bidenomics. I mean, the past 4 years, we've seen the creation of so many useless jobs in the government, which DOGE, of course, is trying to get rid of right now. And at the same time, the shrinking of our manufacturing sector and the middle class, and including a lot of the union workers that President Biden claimed to be representative of, really getting screwed.
Well, the whole thing has you looking very real suspicion. about the whole way they put the whole jobs report together.
Yes.
Every single month they had a revision.
So if you guys know, you've been following me on the channel, I talk about the economy a lot, right? And then I told you guys a couple of videos ago, the great thing about having Trump in office is you're going to start getting the real economic numbers, right? Because all of this stuff is politically driven. It shouldn't be, but that's just the reality of it. When they have the person they like that's in office, these guys will skew the numbers, or they won't report the numbers, or they'll just report the numbers that don't make the person look bad. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter, man, because you guys got to go, and like me, everybody got to go out and buy food, or when the bills come in, everybody got to pay their bills, right? And there's a myriad of reasons of why things going on, but it all leads back to the policies of the last 4 years. At the end of the day, going green, they should not have done that, dude. Going green is something that's at this point in time, dude, it's just not doable, right? There needs to be more investment in it. It needs to be ran through the ringers, right? If all the gas and oil in the world disappeared and you had to rely on green, dude, there'd be wars. A lot of people would be dying. You have people doing that now because they don't have heat. They can't heat their homes. All that stuff, dude. You can't get away from coal right now. Now the goal is that if you're going to go green, right, you're going to have to make that technology better somehow, right? Like how they've done with oil. The way that they've extracted oil 2 centuries ago is very different from what they're doing now. Right? So that's what I'm talking about. But that's the good thing about Trump being in office. Is it fair? No. But at least the reality will start kicking in, and then the news will run with it and be a lot more honest in the beginning, and then they'll start trying to use it to hammer him. They've already tried. The whole thing with the eggs, the Democrats and then people on the left and then people in the media were accusing him of what is he going to do about the egg problem? He promised this, he promised that. I was like, bro, he's been in for 2 weeks. And people aren't listening to it on that level, dude. I mean, they just don't care right now. They're waiting to see what he can do. And he's doing so much stuff, it's hard to keep track. I mean, like I said, I'm trying to do videos for this channel, and it's hard for me to keep track. So if you didn't know, there was a story about him having a person removed from her position. I forgot. I think it was Department of Agriculture. Anyways, one of the heads of the department, and so she wouldn't leave, and they had to go in and remove her. And then the reports came out the last couple of days that she was the person that ordered all the chickens to be killed because they felt like there might be another avian flu or something like that. Right? Could it be political? Possibly. Right, but definitely they wanted her out of the job because what's happening is the administration prior to, they want their people in there to either slow roll a lot of the stuff that he's going to do because he's going to reverse everything that Biden's done, right? So what they were trying to do, and I've seen this firsthand, right, is they take these people that are in these positions and they put them in a different position or transfer them to another department so they can still be there. They just they try and hide them, and this is why Doge is going in and just whacking everybody. I know, dude. I'm seeing it every day, dude. I'm seeing it every day in my job. They're not messing around at all, and unfortunately, it has a lot of people worried. And even the most negative thing about it all is that there's going to be friendly fire, which that's what takes me out the most. But anyway,
and you saw this great disparity between the household survey and the factory survey, and it went on and on and on, and so that raises real questions. And then they have the question of seasonal adjustments. In December, seasonally, a lot of new jobs are created. The holidays in January, where they say we create jobs, actually in the real workforce, hundreds of thousands of jobs are lost.
Yeah.
So they seasonally adjust the thing.
Yeah.
So the whole thing, those numbers are like Chinese numbers. Take them with a grain of salt.
Well, John, talk about the real world, which is what Steve is talking about, as opposed to the numbers that they're coming out with. I mean, the change in real adjusted income for Donald Trump's first term was a 6,000 to the plus side. The change in Biden's was over $1,000 to the negative side. Americans know what.
It's because all the spending, all the stuff that's going on, all the money that we're printing, nonstop. These guys have not been checking their spending. It's just like everybody else's budget. They're on a bigger, grander scale, guys. But at the end of the day, you don't have to be a rocket scientist to figure this out. Like if you have a paycheck, right, and then your utilities go up, your bills go up, your food is more expensive, your insurance goes up by $50, and you make a certain set income where you live by that income. But when it starts to exceed, especially starts to dig into your savings, that's when you see the people begin to realize, that the economy is really not doing well, and that's what's happening. So, hold on.
what the real economy is. And the current economic team of President Trump.
Oh, yeah. So my point being, no matter, you can hide that all you want to in figures and stuff like that. Anybody can manipulate numbers, but at the end of the day, when you're feeling it, it doesn't matter what they do or say.
Knows better than anybody. I think that the new Treasury Secretary, Scott Bessent, put it in very sharp focus with an interview we had with Larry on Wednesday. Let's roll that tape.
As I've said, Wall Street, where you and I came from, has had it great. Wall Street can continue to do just fine. And now under this administration, it's Main Street's turn.
That, I think, will hit Americans on the
Yeah, that's an excellent point right there.
target. They know that that's true. And if they're able to prove it to middle-class Americans and Main Street America, that now there's more opportunity and more money in our pockets, that's going to guarantee a successful midterm election, right?
That's right. By doing the tax cuts, very important. Get the tax cuts made permanent, continue to cut taxes even further, deregulate. This will increase the supply side of the economy, which will combat inflation. One of the most important things Scott Bessent said in that interview with Larry is that they are not pushing for a rate cut from the Fed right now.
Yeah.
That was misreported. A lot of
Very
people were
interesting.
saying, oh, Trump is demanding a rate cut. That's untrue. Trump has said he wasn't demanding a rate cut.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that the media says. That's why I tell you guys all the time to do your own research on it. I'm not saying that he's not going to request the Fed do it, but he's not focusing on that right now. I know this much. When I see what he's doing, he's trying to garner more. Let me see how I can put this. Okay, so you see him like with the tax cuts and stuff like that. So he's trying to create surplus as well. He's trying to make money, is what he's trying to do. So he's trying to balance it, right? Because he wants to balance the budget. And so that's what he came out on X today saying, balanced budget, right? And I don't know if he meant that in 100 days. I don't see that happening, right? I would love for that to happen. So basically, he's trying to cut down the spending, though, right? And then he's trying to increase the profits margins, right? So if you guys didn't know, the Prime Minister of Japan came in today, and they have there's a lot of stuff going on in Japan right now. I won't go into that, but President Trump was able to strike some deals with them. It sounds like they're going to invest in the U.S. At least $1 trillion, I think they said. They're going to be bringing their factories over here to make the cars here because we are, again, we talk about this on the gaming side on this channel, right? America consumes a lot of product and supply, right? And we're the biggest economy. So people want to be here. And if he cuts the taxes and then all these corporations come in or big businesses or local businesses or American-made stuff is what he's focusing on all of that, right? And just that's what the guy's talking about when he increases the supply. So there's more options for the consumer, right? And in the meantime, he's doing that. He's cutting the spending aspect of it because at the end of the day, federal spending and stuff like that, they don't make money. He's kind of reversing that. It looks like he's going to do it the last 4 years, the first 4 years that he did. He's going to weaponize our energy. And I don't mean that in a bad way, guys. He's going to make it, he's going to use this as a way for them to make money, right? So that's why he talks about tariffs and getting other countries to get involved, whether it's paying directly, right, or coming in and breaking deals with them. I mean, you guys got to remember, he's a businessman, and he's a real estate guy, and he's from New York on top of that. So
Bassett has said they're not demanding a rate cut. They are focused on the real economy, not monetary policy, because they know that inflation is the biggest foe of their administration right now. They need to conquer it. The way to conquer it is by growing the supply side of the economy.
Well, Steve, so we agree if they get the tax extensions with the new tax cuts that Trump wants, things will look pretty rosy for.
Oh, hey, Mr. Kima. I'll come back, brother. I'm just trying to get through this video, but I don't have dual screens. I wish I did. But when I get to the video, then we'll talk. Yeah, we can address all this.
For the chances of the GOP winning the midterm elections in 2026. The opposite of that, of course, is what might happen if they let them expire and you get this huge tax increase. That would definitely lead to a loss of the House and maybe the Senate as well, which means Donald Trump would have 2 years to do stuff, and the final 2 years would be a lame duck.
Final 2 years will be impeachment and all other kinds of junk that we saw in the past. And the key thing is on the tax cuts, David, is timing. The longer they wait in renewing those tax cuts of 2017, and longer they wait in getting big new tax cuts to juice the economy. Remember, 2017 just preserves the status quo. We need another round of juice, fire up the economy. And that's what some of these Republicans don't understand. The only way you get us out of the fiscal mess we're in, yeah, they're going to do cutting, they're going to do regulation and the like, but you got to grow the economy. Ronald Reagan taught us that. Donald Trump taught us that in the first term before COVID. And so that's what they should focus on. Why do they have this allergy to cutting, for example, the capital gains tax?
Yeah, I don't
which
understand
raises
that at all.
revenue
Immediately.
instantly.
You get it immediately
and
benefit from
stimulates
that.
the economy immediately. So get off their addiction to the
I thought he was going to swear. It'd have been the first time I've seen Forbes swear. I thought,
crazy way they score future tax
it
cuts.
doesn't. You don't have to be a PhD in economics to understand that we have increased revenue by $1.5 trillion since the 2017 tax cuts. That they increased so much economic activity because of the way they were structured that there was a 48% increase in revenues, and yet the folks inside the Beltway still want to call a tax cut a cost that you have to offset. I mean, I have nothing against cutting the horrible spending we've had, but this is how much extra income the government made as a result of the tax cuts, and yet they say it cost money. It didn't. That's a lie.
Right. It didn't cost money. And what will really cost money is if they fail to extend the tax cuts and to cut taxes even further. That will be a tremendous blow to the economy. Already, they are sowing doubt about whether they will end up getting the tax bill. Remember.
yeah, and that'll fall on the Republicans, and rightfully so. That's the problem with Republicans at the end of the day. I'm a registered Republican. I'm a Republican. I'm a Reagan Republican, though. And even in Reagan's time, he had to fight his own party. Because at the end of the day, a lot of these people, they're just, it's just a DC swamp. It is what it is. And, you know, there's sometimes is what it is they're so enamored, or not enamored, but they're so ingrained in that system and that culture, they can't see themselves out of it. And a lot of times it's just about having power and being greedy. And so that's why a lot of people are shocked with Trump when he won and how he wins and his coalition, which the media never gives him credit for. Right. At the end of the day, he's fighting both parties. Right. Now the Republicans aren't as bad as the Democrats, but I'll say this much: at least the Democrats come at you from the front. When I see a Democrat and when they wage war, I understand. Right. I 100% get it. Right, for Republicans, you got to watch your back, dude. You got to really watch your back for Republicans. Right, that's why they were nonstop hammering the Republican Party and a lot of these people that were in these committees and on these approval committees for his cabinet. Right, because some of them is a little bit flaky. So yeah, that's what irks me about the Republicans, because a lot of the people that sit on the committee, not a lot, there's probably about 3 or 4 of them, should not be on these committees. And there's reasons that they want to be on the committee, right? Because they want to wield that influence, man. Because a lot of these guys do. Again, just follow the money. The amount of money these people are worth is the fact that they've been able to get away with this for so long. This is why I love Doge. Doge is going systematically into every single federal institution and line item video everything. Right? And that's why all this stuff's getting exposed. Right. And this is where you see the agenda. I'm going to do a video. It's going to be an all-in pop video. Or the politics of pop culture, which I haven't done in a while. But I have a lot of stuff we need to talk about. But that whole Gamergate thing, that all blew up this week. Right, and shout out to the guys that was fighting the good fight, guys that picked up on it. Didn't need somebody with an algorithm to show. They knew. I knew for the longest time. That's why I've never been DEI. I've experienced DEI myself, and not in a good way. And so when all that stuff was going on, man, you could tell. Right, and you were ostracized, and people tried to get you canceled. Well, all that stuff's coming out, man. All the money, they're finding all of it, right? And you know, for those guys, there's guys doing videos now, taking the victory lap. That's awesome. They deserve it. The 1 or 2, or the several people that do that. Now you got people jumping on the bandwagon. I'm fine with that too, dude. As long as it gets the truth out there and exposes everything, I'll take it.
Remember, the margins on the House majority and the Senate majority for Republicans are very thin. It would not take very many resignations, scandals, deaths, to actually undo our majority in one of the houses.
Yeah.
That would stop the tax cuts, which would stop the economy, and that would be a disaster. They should get on this right away. Don't say we can wait till September. Do it now, this spring. Give us an Easter tax cut.
Well, you can't.
Yeah, I think that's what he's doing. I mean, he has a lot of stuff going on right now, President Trump. I mean, I don't think he's forgotten about it. But look, dude, Republicans are wishy-washy, you know. So, and I know he knows that. But if there's one thing that he can't afford not to deal with, it's the economy. That's why a lot of people voted for him, and a lot of people have given him leeway, given him grace with some of the stuff that he's doing. Even the stuff that he says it doesn't work on him. Like, there's people that don't like him and hate what he says, but most people that voted for him right now don't really care about that. They want to see him do the things that he said he was going to do. That's why when he just that first day in office, dude, he hit the ground running, dude, like nonstop, right? But again, like I said earlier in the video, that won't matter. It's unfair. It just takes one other thing, but the most important thing right now for a lot of people and why they voted for him is because of their pocketbook. So he needs to get that squared away.
Can't afford, Steve. You can't afford a single defection among the Republicans. It's that thin. The narrow majority is the most narrow majority we've ever seen. Kevin Hassett spoke today about the meeting that the president had with the GOP members of the House and Senate yesterday. Went on for hours, by the way. Here's what Kevin said. He's, of course, the new NEC director. Roll tape.
The president went there and he showed clear leadership. He identified what he wants to do, and the people in the House were convinced by his arguments, and the vice president's. And so I thought there was an enormously positive gain yesterday in that space.
Now, have either of you heard, Steve, first to you, have you heard anything about that meeting and whether the president was successful in telling these people you got to do it now?
I think they got the message, but then they keep going back to, well, we need to do this. We know certain tax cuts, maybe only 5 years, and junk like that. So it's not just one meeting. He's got to lash them each day, and Vance has got to lash them each day. That's how he got nominees for the cabinet through, relentlessly putting pressure on to overcome the obstacles. President Trump and the vice president have to do the same thing. Scott Bessent has to do the same thing. Hammer, hammer, hammer. Because if they do delay, you know what's going to happen. And the idea of 2 reconciliation bills, put it all in one, for crying out loud.
Yeah, but more of the Congress people, it seems that more, even, I mean, some people who were kind of sitting on the fence are now saying, well, we need 2, and we got to put the tax stuff in the second bill, which, again, if we don't have a tax extension by the end of this year, we will have the biggest tax increase in history.
And we cannot wait till the end of this year, because the markets and the economy will start to react way before that. They will not wait till the end of the year for the taxes go up. They will see what is the direction we're going in, and that will slow the economy. It will crash the markets. It will be a disaster. Scott Bessent and Donald Trump and J.D. Vance need to sit down with the senators and say, do you like your chairmanship? Because you're going to lose your chairmanship if we don't get these.
Donald Trump understands the power of incentives. He's been in the private sector his entire life. Unlike a lot of the Republicans, frankly, have been in the public sector so long. If they ever had any private sector experience, I think they've forgotten about it.
Yeah, they're going.
Yeah, that's why I support term limits, guys. These guys get in there so long, they just start changing. And I've seen it happen. I've been following politics my entire life, guys. I've seen it happen with the best of people.
To lose their jobs as chairman of committees if they do not get this passed, not because they're going to get primaried by Republicans, but because the Republicans will lose their majority. It is imperative for them to act for the sake of the economy and for the sake of their majority.
Yeah, pass the tax bill or dust off your resume.
Right.
That's the message.
Let's finally talk about something that's kind of positive, because you talked a lot during the Biden administration how they were using regulations to socialize the economy in so many different ways, not just DEI, but in all kinds of ways, dealing with the environment, dealing with their idea of the government becoming more powerful and the private sector becoming less powerful. And getting rid of those is going to have that is going to be a tax increase in and of itself that Donald Trump already has begun.
Well, it's a huge tax cut. It's going to involve hundreds of billions of dollars. And it's not just the big things, it's even the everyday things. For example, President Trump, I understand today, signed an executive order calling off the war against plastic straws.
I love it.
And that's the kind of thing people relate to. Stop it. Get off our backs with this nonsense.
Yeah. And again, this will.
And again, that's what I talked about a little bit earlier. He's trying to cover every single front, right? Whether it's economic, judicial, what pertains specifically for the country, his executive branch, all the waste, the waste, fraud and abuse, and culture is part of it. And again, that's why I want to do my video, guys. The politics of pop culture, because unfortunately it is a thing. But yeah, things like that do matter.
will have a direct effect on our GDP, right? On the growth of the economy.
Absolutely. One of the things that was absolute death to the economy was Joe Biden's plan to get us off of fossil fuels in the next 20 years. Donald Trump is going in exactly the opposite direction. That's really important because people will not invest in pipelines, in refineries, in new drilling, if they think that it's going to be bankrupted by green new scam programs over the next 10 years.
Yeah, 100%. They should not have done that. That should have been you can't get rid of fossil fuels, man. Especially us. We're such a big country and rely on it so much, right? What you can do is kind of wean your way off of that. But in order to do that, dude, you need an alternative source, right? Dude, a lot of these people who are environmentalists, dude, they care about the environment first before people, right? And as you guys do, you just do your research, man. Go out there and look how many people have been suffering under this eco terrorism, right? Again, at the end of the day, dude, they're trying to do that. And then the thing that irritates me the most, right? Because at the end of the day, all of this stuff requires manufacturing, right? So I take it down to that base level for me personally when I look at this stuff, right? You know, these things aren't magical. You don't whip them out of thin air, right? It takes materials to build these things, right? It takes a workforce. It takes all of that, right? Which is the ironic part about it, because a lot of this stuff is created through just regular raw energy, right? Not green energy. It takes raw energy to make green energy, right? Because you still have a cause and effect, and there's cost elements attributed to it. And this is also what's going on in the world right now, because you need rare earth elements are a big thing right now, dude. This is what leads to countries, either making deals or going to war. But nobody thinks in those terms or go down that road. You know what I'm saying? And people need to start doing that more.
Donald Trump is saying, no, we're actually going to cut deals where we are supplying natural gas for the next 20 years.
And he's going to get the states in on it. I have been without natural gas in my apartment building for 9 months now. 9 months. They turned it because Governor Hochul, to your point, has been increasing the regulations on natural gas so much that there's no way you can satisfy the regulators. So they've been
and that's
they've been cutting off gas lines all over New York.
I know a propane guy. I might be able to help you out.
They never ban anything. They just regulate it out of existence.
Yeah.
And he's stopping
Absolutely.
that. Thank goodness.
Steve and John, great to see.
Yeah, that's 100% what he said. That's why Trump is so anti-regulation, which is good because it's killing us right now, and we need to be. Give the power back to the people. Let the people have choice. That's important. Let the people create. Let the people be the ones that drive the economy. At the end of the day, not the government, and definitely not regulators. Again, you guys know I'm a pro Xbox channel, right? We followed the whole AKB thing. Now, a lot of you guys saw that firsthand with what the government was trying to do to Microsoft, which made absolutely no sense. Right? That's how bad the government was, and is to this point. But now they clean in house, so I can't wait for that to happen. Let me stop. That's all I wanted to kind of show you guys really quickly. Let me get back to the. So, Mr. Kima, I'm not sure if you're still there. If you can see your comments. Mr. Kima says he's doing things in a criminal, illegal way. That's not the way to get things done. Like what specifically? Trust me, man. If he was doing stuff criminally, they'd have him arrested. There's no way that they would let him do stuff criminally, and not try. They throughout the entire 4 years where he's running for president, they tried to lock him up. You know what I'm saying? So you have to let me know specifically what is he doing. I will say this: if you're talking about him doing the executive orders, I don't think that's the best way to do things. But that's just the hand he's dealt at this point in time. And Bush was the first one. Bush Jr. was the first one to do it. And he went a little bit. And then Obama came in and he went in. And then Biden took it and he went to a whole nother level. And Trump's just raising the ante at this point. For me personally, yeah, I'm not down with that. But it is what it is, man. You know, you have to play the game sometimes. I don't agree with it. I hope a lot of this stuff that he's been talking to the Republicans, because they have control of the House and the Senate, actually making this stuff law. And actually doing stuff with our Constitution. Just to solidify it, not to change it, like a lot of these activists want to do. They're absolutely psychotic. Mr. Kima says Biden's last job report was well over 300,000. Are you talking about jobs specifically? Yeah, remember we lost a lot of jobs in the pandemic and in COVID. And then the reason why I showed that video specifically for that, because now it looks like the numbers are shifting drastically, right? Which the indicator would is they were fumbling with the numbers, or they weren't reporting honestly with the numbers, which is a political thing to do, right? This is why Trump right now, dude, he's not leaving anything to chance. Like they said in the video, they're not even waiting for the Fed to drop rates because they really can't. It doesn't behoove them to wait on these guys. It'd be just for them to move forward, and that's what he's doing, dude. That's why he's just doing all this stuff at one time. He has 100 days to really implement his stuff, man. I mean, he's doing everything. He's trying to fish out all the corruption, right? He's trying to get the economy back on track. He's trying to build the relationships back with our allies. He's trying to calm down all the wars in the world, all the stuff that he was known for. And in all fairness, he ran on it during the campaign, and he made it a strong point that he'd be able to do it. So he has to deliver. But yeah, dude. And then I mean, the job report is the job report, but the killer again, Mr. Kima, is the inflation, right? I know a lot of people that I know that are doing things like they're actually going back to school. They're doing side jobs, getting paid under the table, because there's no really upside for them working, even though they get paid more now. It's just the cost of living is just so ridiculous, right? So, I mean, you work and because if where I live, dude, and I know I'm unique in the sense I live in a blue state, and it's very expensive here than most other states. I mean, we're right up there with Southern California, like in certain big cities, where the cost of living is expensive. Like Hawaii, all over Hawaii is like that. In fact, the more outer island you go, the worse it is. So they've raised the minimum wage like $15 in a lot of places. The problem is that it's raised the cost of the food, and it's raised the cost of living in general. Like everything costs more where I live, like in other places, other states as well. That's why you see people migrating to more red states where there's better economic situations and where they can thrive. Like in Hawaii, right now, a lot of people that grew up here, lived here, they sold their houses because they can sell it at a high price, like over $1 million, then they can move to Vegas. That's where there's like 200,000 people in Vegas right now from Hawaii that moved from Hawaii within a couple of years because they can't afford to live here. So they moved to Vegas because in Vegas now they sell their house for $1 million plus, right? They can buy a house there for 200,000-300,000. And then put the rest in the bank account and then live a good life because the cost of living, food. I know, and okay, so and I'll say this: like I keep up with Vegas because I'm actually looking at retiring there. But the thing with Vegas is because there's been an influx of people, the cost of living for them have gone up, right? So this is the cause and effect that I look at, right? It's because you have people from more predominantly more affluent states that can't live there anymore because it's gotten so ridiculous for whatever reason that they move to a state that's more affordable. But then the people that live in that state are the ones that kind of suffer because you're coming in with all this cash in hand, buying up houses. It drives demand. And so where the local community used to pay like maybe 150, 200,000, now all those houses are 500,000, which is out of the price range. You see what I'm saying? That's the kind of thing that has causality to it, right? It's not just one or two things. It's an amalgamation of different stuff happening at one time or various other times, and they just kind of connect and spread out. And then it affects a lot of different people. Mr. Kima says China leads the world in clean energy, and U.S. will fall further behind. That's fine, Mr. Kima. That's fine, because one of the reasons that China is able to do some of the stuff that they do is because of their and that's credit to China. That's credit to China because they've created a lot of this, and they have the processing power to do the rare earth minerals, which a lot of these batteries are made out of, right? But then again, that's why I fall off on the environmental stuff, right? Because all these environmentalists never hold China to the fire because China doesn't care. Same thing with Russia. Russia won't care. But I will disagree, dude. I don't care about green energy at all. I mean, it's like a side dish to me. Like if the U.S. can do it and we can do it better, we can actually make money off of it. We can make it somehow produce more at the end of the day. And I mean, to me, the more the merrier, right? But what I don't agree with is what like Biden and did while making that our main focus, dude. I mean, the majority of the world runs on fossil fuel. In fact, what's happening because of this policy that we put in place, that we have this is one of the reasons why other countries don't like us, especially Africa. Dude. Africa is like, I mean, the stuff that we and and then of course our partners in Europe, which I hope we get out of the UN too. But a lot of that stuff that they're doing is hurting third world countries, right? Because what we're telling third world countries is, okay, we've used gas and oil, and we've even gotten off to nuclear, and we've used that, and there's people that use it to this day. But for you guys, you have to use windmills, right? And they're growing economies, and a lot of people don't know this about Africa, dude. It's not. It's a continent. It's not a country, right? And so each of the countries there's countries within that continent that all occupies that continent, right? So there's a lot of differences. It's just like how Europe is. France is France and Germany is Germany, right? But they're trying to grow, right? And they are growing, and we're basically limiting them, right? Which I don't think is fair, right? And again, this is where you go back to, just like any good simulated video game that deals with civilizations, right? It's always about the resources, right? And handicapping ourselves was very dumb. We have the oil, we have the technology to make a clean oil. We have the technology to make our oil better, last longer, and then also we have fracking. We have all this kind of stuff that we can use. We have nuclear as well, and it's ironic because a lot of these tech companies, Microsoft is one of them, that was pushing clean energy. Dude, now they're pushing. It's one of the reasons why they went to go see Trump in Mar-a-Lago. Now they want, because Trump's in office, they're like, well, he'll probably let us. They want to do nuclear, right? Because of all the processing, the raw power that it'll take to do all the processing power that they have to use, right? They need a lot of energy to run that processing power. Right? There's no way around it. Mr. Kim, note is doing things illegal. They have no right to go in and get people personal information. I will push on that, Mr. Kima. I find it funny that people that work there and the security people and all this stuff are talking about that. When my information has been hacked more times than I like to count. The amount of times I had OPM tell me that our personal information was hacked, that I have to change my personal information, change credit cards, change all of that, because it's probably China, right? It's been happening nonstop. One thing people don't realize is that Elon Musk has look, dude. President Trump is the executive, dude. There's the three branches, right? There's the oh my gosh, dude. Hold on. I'm gonna have to look this up, dude. See what happens when you get home. There's the executive branch, which is Trump, right? Then you have the judicial branch, which is the Supreme Court, right? Or that's what people associate it with the Supreme Court. Then you have the legislative branch, which is the House, the Senate, the politicians, the people we elect. So you have those three branches of government. Those are the three main branches. And with the executive branch, dude, he has privilege, right? Just like with the military, like he's able to do stuff with the military. He's the commander in chief. When I was in the Navy, whoever was Clinton was the president, and his picture sat right up there on the wall, above everybody else. Musk does not hold elective office, official office or position. He had no business going in down there. No, dude, you're wrong. Most of these people are not elected, Mr. Kima. That's the problem, though, right? That is a problem, right? A lot of these people are not elected, right? And they get appointed or put in these positions. So, and then under what his position, he's not an elected official, right? But what Doge is they're going in and they're basically like a third party that you bring in to look at your finances. That's what they're doing. I mean, I understand what you're saying, though. Like where I work, dude, a lot of people are not cool about that. But on the flip side, just last year, like I said, OPM sent out messages, dude, all our information got hacked. And the thing is, dude, like they can't. If he wanted to, dude, especially with that Uber Geek Squad that he wanted to do, if he wanted to do some damage, he could. There's nothing they could do to stop him. That's how bad their security is. The security is, right? But I know he has a top secret clearance, man, because he worked with the administrations before Trump. If you guys didn't know this, man, Elon was the biggest liberal. This is why he was in green energy, because he believed in all that stuff. What ended up happening, man, is the left kind of turned on him. And then he tells the story about what happened with his son, with the gender dysphoria stuff. And then he turned right. I mean, he hated Trump, dude. I mean, him and Trump didn't get along at all, which makes sense, right? Those two dudes have the biggest ego. I'm amazed they were able to work with each other on the campaign. But it seems like one of those things, like for the greater good or whatever it is. I know Trump, he was rethinking his whole life after he got shot in the air. And then you got Elon Musk got ostracized by the people that actually looked up to him and used to worship him. And they turned on him. Right now, this dude has become like the biggest. And that's the sad thing about these dudes, Mr. King. They're not sad. Okay, let me take that back. That's one of the most amazing things about these guys, because I don't have this type of energy. But these dudes are just eating, living, and breathing this what they're doing right now. Like they're sleeping, like Elon Musk is sleeping in his office, wherever that is in the White House, and all these guys they show the pot that these dudes sleep in. Right? And it's not politically motivated, man. These guys are built that way, dude. These guys are uber geeks, man. And I know you guys are like me. You guys like pop culture. We grew up in nerd culture and stuff like that. That's why I call myself a nerd, right? And there's a big difference between nerds and geeks. Those guys are geeks. Nerds like us, man. We play games. We like science fiction. We like reading about science fiction, consuming that kind of stuff. Geeks are all the hardcore people, man. They're the one that tends to be the scientists, the engineers. They're the guys that probably created COVID, right? it's people like that, right? They're ultra focused. Right? And then if you guys didn't notice, man, Elon's on the spectrum as well. So that dude got energy to burn for days. And it also doesn't help that their boss is like that too. So Mr. Kima, on that level, I see what you're saying, brother, but it's almost like a necessary evil in my opinion, because there's just so much stuff going on, man. That's why they're tracing this money. That's why the Treasury doesn't want them to look at that stuff. It has really nothing to do, dude. My information, dude. I'm a federal worker, and my information has been hacked so many times. Dude, that's how bad their stuff is. That's why you always hear them complaining about how behind we are against other nation states, right? And then in fairness, the nation states, they have no filter, man. They do whatever they want to do. That's stuff that we won't do. And I don't know if that's going to change, but the amount of time that people's information has been hacked, not surprising at all. So for me, it's kind of disingenuous, not you, but the people that are coming up saying this, that have been in government for a long time and they haven't been able to stop any of it. At least he has a clearance. Now I don't know about the people underneath him. That could be a cause for concern. And Mr. Kima, just to let you know, a lot of this stuff that's going on, this is why they got their unions, they got all this stuff going on, that people are challenging, taking it to court, like the whole thing with the resignation stuff that got postponed to Monday. So they were offering federal employees out, and then wanted to just stop that because there was something, a discrepancy. So all this stuff is going through the courts, right? But at the end of the day, you have to realize that President Trump is the head executive. He's like the CEO of the government, especially of the executive branch. So that's why he's fired a lot of people, actually, that he has the power to fire. The other thing that they'll probably do is they'll just get rid of the departments and not have to deal with it, or get rid of the entities. Remember, a lot of these entities are not, they've been created. They're not constitutional. There's a lot of people say, oh, that's why that's unconstitutional. I'm like, no, they're not. None of this stuff existed at the founding. If in fact, if you go back and look, if the founding fathers were here, they'd probably cry, because this is the government that they were absolutely against. And that's why a lot of them back in the day didn't want to serve elected government, because they lived under a king. They were Englishmen. They fought for their independence from England, from the king, and they knew what living under a king was like. In fact, you see that in Great Britain now, dude. You write something on social media, they can come in and lock you up, and they're doing that with their citizenry over there. They have their own set of problems over there. Canada's doing the same thing. And then Mr. Kim, to the point of China, I'm just going to be honest with you, dude. Total paper tiger. I'm going to do some videos on them that I pulled if I have the time. And I think it's absolutely mind blowing what they're doing. It's the problem with China is they don't really create stuff. They've taken stuff and they're building off of the stuff that they made, but in order to be a true superpower or to be a successful civilization, or especially if you want to be on the world stage and actually lead the free world, the right way, is that you have to be able to create stuff, and they're not. They're taking stuff that's already been done. And they've done a good job with a lot of it. Dude. Just to take it back to video games, Marvel Rivals. I was watching my daughter play that. That game is absolutely amazing, right? That's some of the best artwork I've seen in Marvel from a long time, right? So I'm not criticizing them on that, but what I'm saying is there's a lot of stuff that's built. Most of it's built in the West, because in order to create some of this stuff, you have to have some type of culture. And a lot of these other countries that people look up to, they're just not. It's very counter culture. Right, and at the end of the day, China's communist. Just throw that out there. So, but yeah, but Mr. Kima, that's the whole thing. It's an executive privilege at the end of the day. I'm not saying you have to like it. I'm just saying. But yeah, that's what I wanted to do to guys. Do tonight, guys. Nothing. I know this probably ran longer than I wanted to, but it's fine. I just wanted to get that out there. Like I said, a couple of videos, please look out for the politics and pop culture. We're going to talk about Falcon. We're going to talk about more in depth about this whole Gamergate thing, because it is blowing up. I'll pull the stuff so you guys can at least look at it. I will not look, dude. I'll be talking in generalizations in a sense. I'll give my opinion, and I have my own basis of stuff that I believe, and you guys can have the same, right? Like I have no problem with Mr. Kimo coming on giving his point of view. I'm fine with that. What I won't do is your homework, because I used to do that before, man. I used to spend hours like digging stuff up and sharing it with people, and people didn't care at the end of the day. So I don't want to waste my time in that way. I'd rather be leveling up on. I'd rather be trying to beat Ninja Gaiden, finally finishing Indiana Jones. I started a whole bunch of games. We got a Valve coming out, but next week, Valve's right around the corner. I see people getting hyped up about that. Shout out to Xbox and Microsoft. They've been putting in the work, man. I see it on my social media. They're putting it all out there, right? Because of all the stuff that's going on. In the gaming community, we all know we're all Xbox guys, right? But shout out for them for trying to get ahead of the ball game. I don't know how that's going to work out. All I know is whatever's going on in the culture of gaming. I'm going to talk with Hebot about that. Sega Man, hopefully tomorrow they'll be able to join me. I'll make the time to meet them whatever time they need to. Hebot and Sega Man had a great podcast. If you didn't check it out last week Sunday, where Hebot touched on a lot of stuff and said a lot of stuff that I felt but didn't know how to say, which is always case in point. Because some of the people ask me, "Wow, you when Hebot's talking, you don't really say anything." I'm like, "Yeah," because he's saying, as you guys know, look, Hebot's the historian, but he's a great orator. Right, and way better than I. The only thing that motivates me to do this is that's why I'm doing videos like this. I have to be interested in what I'm saying, right? Or have some kind of feel any other way. I'm not sorry the production value is never going to get any better. I just accepted that, right? But start tomorrow, Saturday. Going to do that with them because I want to talk about that, dude. I'm not saying that. I definitely think the culture of gaming is suffering. So I want to give my 2 cents on that, and it'll help to have both of them on there because we come from the same time period of gaming. But yeah, hopefully you guys like the video. I'm gonna put out more stuff again. I'm gonna ultra focus on Doge because I think that's important. Some of the stuff that they're doing is just amazing to me. As a person who's followed politics, but a person who's also affected by that. What's up, Mr. Kima says? Mr. Kim says PSN network has been down worldwide for 45 hours. You know what? That's funny. I would not have known that, Mr. Kim, unless you told me, because they don't talk about it. In fact, that's what I was gonna do. And yesterday, tomorrow's podcast was have like the Xbox thing. Like if you put Xbox in Bing, the stories are just like I just stay away from it at this point in time. Like Unlimited said, dude, just play your games. Because when I put the games on, bro, everything melts away. What they did with Ninja Gaiden was just absolutely, I couldn't believe it, dude. I could not. I was just like, I was just like, Phil, you're the man, dude. If anything, all this other drama going on, all this other politics and gaming going on, bro, that you could do that. Right? That was amazing. They had a great show on top of that. But I do feel a certain way about some stuff. We'll talk about it in tomorrow's podcast. But yeah, thanks for letting me know, Mr. Kima, because I wouldn't have even known because nobody talks about it. The biggest thing I've seen happening that people are talking about with Sony was they laid more people off. Right? And I think some people are kind of coming around to what's going on. Right, where you have these other companies not doing anything or laying people off or closing whole studios, right? And then you just have and there's only one company that's actually making stuff. Right? Actually has games like with the Avowed. I think they're promoting the 30. I think they're doing the same thing, right? We can get an early access next week if we pay what is it, like $30, $39, $49 or whatever. Which I'll look, I want to give Avowed its fair shake. Right, because there's a lot of people hitting on Evolve, right? And I mean, I'm like, we keep it 100, bro. I'm a pro Xbox guy, so I want to forego the money and play it, and then let people know. I give my opinion, but I'm not going to be one of these guys that sit from the background and snipe. That's not how we do it on this channel, and I can't because I promote Xbox on this channel. So, but thanks for being here, Mr. Kimo, man. I appreciate it, brother. But yeah, I hope you can join us tomorrow for the podcast, dude. I think it's going to be really good, especially for us OGs. All right, guys, so I'm going to wrap it up. Thank you, Daniel, for being here. Again, Mr. Kima, thank you for being here. Great points, by the way. I'll do the video on China because I like to see your commentary on that as well. I mean, they're in flux big time as well, and a lot of stuff going on the global scale. And I'll try and do that more on the channel too. But thank you guys for being here. Xbox on the channel. Host Sega Forever. We out.